Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today. My name is Melissa, and I'm here to lead you through yoga. We are going to practice together for 45 minutes today. So as we go through class, just a reminder to listen to your body. If any of the stretches do not work for you, please skip them, come on out and modify. Not every pose works for every person. So always listen to your body. As we go through class, you'll want to have a yoga mat, something that you're comfortable on. Blocks and blankets are not a necessity for practice, but they can be nice props to have. So if you want to have that yoga blanket, also the blocks, those can be very supportive in some of the stretches if you need them. But again, if you don't have them, no worries at all. So for our class today, I was planning on doing a really nice hip opening practice. If you feel like you are sitting a lot through the workday, maybe driving at the computer, this practice will be really great for giving a nice stretch to the hips, the legs, the low back, and very balancing for the whole body because everything is so connected that if the hips are a little cranky, that could affect our neck, get down into our feet. So it'll be really great for the full body as well. So I'd love to start up in standing today. So we're just going to take that nice, comfortable standing position. You're going to take your feet in line with your hips, toes will point straight forward. And let's start with a few shoulder rolls just to center. We're going to do a little standing centering today. So we take our shoulders up to the ears, find that nice large circle and relax your shoulders down. Let's take one more breath here. We're going to inhale and exhale. And taking a moment to pause. So let's let the eyes close, or you can soften the gaze. And we'll just try to bring a bit of mindfulness into the moment. So we'll feel our feet grounded and planted, maybe lifting up your 10 toes, and then slowly placing them down just one at a time, really getting that grounded sensation in the feet. And then as you press firmly into your feet, insides and outsides of the feet, let's travel up the body, maybe a gentle micro bend into the knees, a slight tuck of your tailbone, and then lengthening your spine, lengthening the back of your neck, and reaching and stretching to the crown of the head. We will take a moment to connect with our breath. So inhaling and exhaling through the nose. And then seeing if you could find a bit of length on your in-breath and find a bit of length on your out-breath. Maybe encouraging your exhale to be a little bit longer than your inhale. And then as we go through class today, just being very mindful of the breath and poses. Trying to keep the mouth closed, inhaling and exhaling through the nose. That breathing technique just lets the mind and the body know everything is okay, that it's okay to relax, to let your guard down. It's very beneficial. If you only carry one thing throughout your entire life, let it be hope. Let it be hope that better things are always ahead. Let it be hope that you can get through even the toughest of times. Let it be hope that you are stronger than any challenges that come your way. Let it be hope that you are exactly where you're meant to be right now, and that you're on the path to where you're meant to be. Let's take a moment to set an intention for class. And then just carrying that with you through class. And that's just your own goal or desire for the session, maybe to relax, to be present in your body, maybe to soothe away tension that's built up in your body through the day today. Taking a full breath in here. Let's begin to sweep our hands up to the sky. Hinging at the hips, we'll take a swan dive down to the earth. Hands are going to float down onto the mat. And if the ground is feeling far away, you may want to bend into your knees. And you could also use those yoga blocks. You could pop the hands up on the blocks. We are going to bend one knee and we will bend the other knee. And maybe relax the head yes and no. So we can just shake it out a little bit. Maybe the head shakes yes. Maybe the head shakes no. And this is just such a nice movement to really start the practice, helping us to warm up our body. Really good for hamstrings, calves, low back, hips, even for the head as you really let that head hang heavy like a weight. As you come to stillness here, let's begin to float our right foot back, bringing you into a runner's lunge. Right knee lowers down onto the mat. And begin to bend and straighten your front leg. So if you had wanted to use the blocks, if the ground feels far away, you can grab onto the blocks. And then our block typically has 3 heights, which is really nice. You could see which height would work for your body. Sometimes as we progress through the practice, we can lower those blocks so that we can get a little bit more stretch. And another nice way to modify is to support the right knee. So if your knee is a little sensitive, sometimes the knee is a little hard, ground's a little bit hard. Sometimes blanket can give a little softness. So maybe patting that area, just taking care of the body here. Let's take a moment to straighten the front leg. We are going to fold on over. This pose is called half splits, Ardha Hanumanasana. Maybe look to your navel. Try to relax your head and neck as best as you can. Let's bend into our left knee and we'll take that left hand to the sky, finding a twist. This brings us into our knee down twist. On your in breath, see if you can lengthen your spine. On your out breath, let your twist deepen. Let's float our hand down. We're going to come into a tabletop position, left knee to right knee. We'll work on gliding and circling the ribs. So to start, let's lower the stomach. We will lift up through the heart. And then coming into a neutral spine, so engaging the core. Ribs are going to slide to the right. So we'll imagine that there was an object on the right that we wanted to press away. We'll bring ourselves back through to center. Let's take our chin to chest. We'll do a rounding here of our back to a neutral spine, and then ribs will glide off towards the left. So just going through the nice 4 movements of the spine. Let's lower the stomach. We will lift up the heart, and we're just going to circle other direction here. So core engages. We're going to zip up the core. Float your ribs off towards the left. Back through center. Let's take chin to chest. We'll round our back. Neutral spine. Ribs, let's glide them off to the right. And back to center. Right foot's gonna hop up in between the hands. So if it feels challenging to get that foot forward, you can always take that right hand and guide it forward. That can be a nice little support, little trick there. So we're bending and straightening. The most important alignment cue is to make sure that as you bend into your right knee, that your knee and your ankle are stacked here. So we want to have this line here. You can also be behind the knee, but what we don't want is the knee to extend too far forward. That can put unnecessary pressure on the knee joint. Let's take a moment to straighten the front leg. We're going to bring it forward into our half splits, Ardha Hanumanasana. Now, if you wanted to deepen your stretch, we have our right hip crease here. You could pull that back a little bit. It's very gentle micro movement and adjustment. And then you might feel your left hip move forward a tiny bit. And that can just deepen the stretch on the outside of your right calf, and then bring that up to the IT band. Right knee bends and right hand rises. Let's twist it out. Try to get the shoulders to stack and open here. So we want to feel that our shoulders are in one line and our wrists are in one line as well. We're going to bring that hand down. Let's come to a forward fold. So we'll take our left foot to meet our right foot. Let's split ourselves into a half lift. So that's hands onto the shins. We really want to lift and lengthen. Try to find a flat back if that's accessible for you. Let's come down to fold, ground into your feet. We're going to rise on up. Inhale. Take your hands at your heart as you exhale. Let's bring those hands up. Inhale. Fingers will interlock and palms will press to the sky for this one. So we're really going to lengthen, reach, and stretch from our low back. Hands to the right and hands to the left. So we'll do a wiggle in the waist to the right and to the left. Each time that you create this movement, really see if you can lift up and out of the waist and then find that side bend. This is a variation of a half moon pose. We call this Ardha Chandrasana in Sanskrit. And when we pause, we look a little bit like a crescent moon. So let's take the hands to the right. We're going to send the left hips to the left. You can see kind of like this outer rounded shape on the outside and then also on the inside. So to get more of that stretch, you can really send your hips off towards the left. Let's bring ourselves back to center, lengthen and release to the other side. Now try to get grounded in your feet. You don't want to press firmly in one foot and then be really light in the other foot. Try to get that nice even connection there for your body. Let's bring ourselves back to center, hands behind the body for a shoulder and a heart opener. So we'll take Yoga Mudra standing, fingers interlock, palms touch. Option to square out the wrists as well. Maybe imagining that you could draw a marble in between the shoulder blades. We don't want to drop that marble, so we're really going to try to squeeze those shoulder blades in towards one another. Stay standing and variations to come down to fold if you'd like. So you can hinge at the hips and come on forward. Now let's see if we can relax the fronts of the shoulders. And just noticing if that helps you move a little bit deeper into the shoulder stretch. Let's bring our hands down onto our back, hands down to the earth, and grounding into those hands. Let's float that left foot back. Left knee lowers, hands to the sky. Let's find a knee down warrior. We'll come into Anjane Asana here. So for this one, most common thing that I see is people will be a little bit higher because it can feel like a really deep stretch to drop down. But try not to cheat yourself out of that good stretch. This one's good for your hams or your quad on the left side, your hip flexor and your psoas. So really just see if in your body you can drop those hips down, but still maintaining that angle in the knee where the knee is not extending past the ankle. So knee in line or knee behind. Good, let's take it into table. We're gonna press ourselves back into child's pose just for a moment. So hips to heels, heart will soften. Core engages. Let's go into an up dog. So we're going to skip that transition of lowering, that chaturanga. And we just gently drop the hips down. We're going to keep those arms straight and we'll just open the chest and the heart to start warming up our backs. Hips to heels. Let's float that heart down. Find that softness. Core engages, rippling forward through the spine. Hips will lower. Heart will open. Let's go a few more times here. So take this one at your own pace, find your own rhythmic flow. And we will meet back into our tabletop position when you're ready. Let's float that left foot up in between the hands. You can always guide that forward if needed. Knee down warrior on our left. So let's float those hips down and heart will open. And if you can, maybe you can get on the upper part of the right knee. Sometimes that helps to just drop us forward a little bit. And the upper part of the knee tends to be a little bit softer, maybe a little bit more fleshier part of the knee. And we're going to take the hands down. Let's come into a forward fold from here. We'll take our right foot to meet our left foot. Finding your way into a halfway lift. Float yourself down. We're going to rise up. Take a nice full breath in. Right hand reaches for your left wrist. We're just going to grab on here. And then left foot to the right. Let's cross the legs. Lengthen, hands off to the right. Almost create a little sensation like that right hand could pull your left hand to the right side of the room. So really try to open up the side of the body here. We're gonna bring ourselves back through to center. Let's realign. We're gonna change up the grip in the hands and release to the other side. Get grounded between both of the feet, inside and outside of each foot. And back through to center. Let's release the hands down. We'll reset on our feet and giving that a try on the other side. Hands come up. Left hand for right wrist, right foot to the left. Let's lengthen, hands to the left. Take a full breath in and out here. See if you can find that expansion through the ribs. You have all of these little muscles, intercostal muscles. You can give them a good stretch with that breath. And come back here to center, changing up the grip in the hands and releasing up to the right. Check in. Are you grounded evenly in both of your feet? Let's bring ourselves back through the center. We're gonna unwrap arms and legs. We'll take a nice shoulder roll. Inhale and exhale here. Hands to the sky. Let's breathe in deeply. Fold forward. Let's hinge at the hips. Finding your way into a halfway lift. Plant your hands. Right foot steps back for a runner's lunge. Begin to bend and straighten your front leg. Now, if this feels really tricky, bring your right knee down. So we were working with this earlier, so this is a nice transition to just build on that. But if you're not ready for that, have the knee down. And just like with that last set we did, blocks can be helpful under the hands if you need them. Same alignment cue on that left leg. So we have our left knee and ankle step. We are going to work on doing a leg strengthening series here. So wade into our left foot. Let's take our right leg up and we're going to find our way into a warrior 3 pose. So in warrior 3, we want to find our focal point. That's our drishti in Sanskrit. That's one spot to focus concentration and to focus awareness. Let's come back into a runner's lunge. Left leg straightens, runner stretch. Maybe bring more weight into that left foot to left. Lift the left hip up. See if you can balance off the hips and the low back a little bit more. We're going to come on through runner's lunge. Springing off your right foot, warrior 3. Get very grounded in your left foot. So we want to press through the inside, to the outside. And then notice your body's natural tendency, noticing if you tend to roll in or tend to roll to the outside of the foot. Let's bring ourselves back. Runner's lunge. Left hand rises, runner's twist. Right knee can come down to modify on your twist. Let's see if we can roll that left shoulder open, right shoulder under. Heart is shining to the sky. Left hand lowers, floated forward, warrior 3 pose. Now imagining if you could see yourself from the side, we would want to create a capital T shape in our body. So we find this long line from our right heel to the crown of the head, and then left heel to our left hip. Let's take it down to warrior 1 pose from here. So warrior 1, right heel is grounded down. I'm going to press firmly into the outer edge of our right foot. We're going to breathe into our calf stretch and our hamstring stretch. Breathe into our quad, hip flexor, and psoas stretch. Let's take our hands up to the sky. We're going to interlock the fingers and release the index fingers. This takes us into steeple hands. Really lengthen the spine, core engages, and let's try for a back bend here. So we'll just feel that heart opening, fingertips are coming back. Inhale and exhale. Let's begin to release on that one. We're going to bring it forward, finding our runner's lunge. Take your right foot to meet your left foot, forward fold, left foot steps back, runner's lunge. Begin to bend and straighten your front leg. So maybe on this side, trying to be a little bit more mindful of the breath, finding this flow with your breath. Flowing with our breath helps us drop into the present moment, helps us be more mindful and present. On your exhale, leg will straighten. On your inhale, knee will bend. Right knee will bend. Spring forward. Let's come into Warrior Three. This one is called Virabhadrasana Tree in Sanskrit. And we'll encourage a very neutral gaze on this one. So look straight down to the mat. Try not to crank the head forward or back too much. Let's bring ourselves back into a runner's lunge. Right leg will straighten, folding over the leg for a moment, runner stretch pose. Encourage your left hip forward, encourage the right hip crease to pull back a little bit. See if you can find a little bit more balance there in your body. We will bend into the right knee, springing off your back foot. Come on forward, Warrior Three pose. And lots of different options with the hands. So maybe the hands at your heart space or on the hips. Other variations would be arms alongside your body, palms face down. Maybe hands reach and stretch in front of you. Let's bring ourselves back into our runner's lunge. We'll take our right hand to the sky for a twist. Now trying to really activate your left leg in your twist. So press out through your heel and the back of your knee. Hand comes down, core engages. Let's take it Warrior Three. We'll go one last time. And back foot, maybe you are pointing the toes or maybe you're flexing your foot. Just check in, see what feels best in your body. Warrior One, let's land, left foot back, heel lowers down, hips and shoulders square forward, zipping the core up, lengthening the spine. As we hold that length, let's take steeple through the hands. Fingers will interlock, release the index fingers. Let's lengthen here. We're gonna reach and stretch up and then float your hands back. See if you can open the chest and the heart a little bit more, find that space. Back through to center. Let's bring the hands down, coming into our runner's lunge. Left foot steps to the upper right edge of the mat, bringing you into a fold with your legs crossed. Line your toes up, line your heels up, and then fold over the fronts of the legs as you exhale. Maybe draw your weight forward into your toes. Send your weight back into your heels. Shift the weight to the right and to the left. So from here, we're going to do a complete spin on our feet. We'll walk our hands off to the left. Be mindful of not picking the feet up completely and shifting them. So what we're going to do is just be up on our toes. So the heels are lifted and then we're just spinning on the toes and the balls of the feet. So let's begin to walk our hands off towards the left. Heels are going to lift up. We're just going to spin ourselves around. Now we're facing the back of our mat. And then we're going to go for a nice full spin. So let's bring our hands continuing in that circle. Hands are going to come back to the top of our mat. We're going to have our opposite leg on top this time. And let's give ourselves that nice fold forward, even off the legs. Really nice IT band stretch on this one. Let's begin to unwrap the legs. We're going to bring it back into a traditional forward fold. You can always shake that out if you need to. We'll take ourselves into a halfway lift. Come on down to a fold. Rising up on the inhale. And taking the hands to your heart as you exhale. Let's take a moment to pause. So maybe hands are at the heart space. You could always draw the hands on the body. That can be a nice way to drop in and connect. Maybe one hand to the heart, one to the navel or the low ribs. Maybe feel your heart beating, connecting to the life force, to the energy inside of your body. And then also feel your body reacting to the breath. As you inhale, feel your chest rise. On the exhale, feel your chest fall. We'll feel our navel rise on in-breath, and the navel falls on out-breath. And then knowing each time that you breathe, you bring life and oxygen to all of the cells throughout your body. Taking an inhale here, let's begin to sweep our hands up to the sky. We're going to fold ourselves down, hinge at the hips. Let's find our way into our halfway lift. Plant your hands, plank, high push-up, knees up or down, whichever you prefer. Chaturanga, that's our reverse push-up down. We'll float into an upward facing dog here. Let's hold it for a breath. Really see if you can lengthen. Imagine someone drawing you by the crown of the head by a golden thread. Let's press it back to down dog on the exhale. So we're going to work with a pose called flip dog. And if you know that the shoulders or the wrists are really sensitive, you may want to skip this one and meet us in our next pose. But if you want to give flip dog a try, we're going to take our right leg to the sky. We're going to bend, stack, and open. And then you'll just drop your right foot to the opposite side of your mat. And then we're going to lift that right hand up. Spin on your toes and your feet so that your feet are planted. Toes are moving to the back of the room. Knees are bent. Let's take our hips to the sky. And then feel that hand reaching up and overhead. Let's begin to come on up. We're going to rise on up, finding a three-limbed dog, right leg to the sky. And then right foot steps forward, core engages. Let's take crescent warrior here. And then as we're in crescent, this is with our left heel off of the mat. We're going to press that heel straight back so that our heel is in line with our hip. Let's work on a release for the wrists. Fingers interlock, palms touch. And then we're just going to do a little circle out of the wrists here. Try to get nice and grounded in the feet. Feel the strength of the legs drawing in towards one another. Reverse. Let's circle in the other direction. And we're going to shake out those wrists. Let's take a full breath in, hands to the sky. Warrior two, let's breathe out. Grounding firmly into the feet, imagining that they could draw into the center line of the mat. Releasing arms and legs, let's come into a pyramid stretch. So for pyramid, left foot takes a hop forward, not all the way to the top of the mat, but a little bit of a hop forward. So maybe there's a couple feet between the feet, maybe a few feet between the feet. And try to square your hips and your shoulders forward on this one. We're going to bring our hands to the sky on the in-breath. We'll come on down to a fold on the out-breath. And then as you're in your pyramid, this one is also called intense side stretch pose. Just noticing in your body where you feel the stretch. Maybe feeling that in the backs of the legs, maybe in the low back, maybe in the back of the neck as you let your head relax and you let your head release. Let's try for a twist. Right hand to the sky when you're ready. And this is our pyramid twist. See if you can roll that right shoulder back and left shoulder under. Now, the next two variations are optional, so it just depends if you want to go for a little bit more here. So if you'd like a little bit more intensity, lift your left leg up, and this takes us into a pose called revolved balancing half moon. You are going to flex that left foot. And you're just gonna try to lift that left leg up and then hold that twist through your spine. You can stay here if you wanted to make it even more challenging. Maybe right hand for your left foot, and this is called a twisted sugar cane pose. We are going to release that into standing splits. So both of the hands down, left leg to the sky. Let's come into runner's lunge from here. Float it back into plank. High push-up pose. Chaturanga Dandasana. Let's meet in that up dog. See if you can relax your shoulders away from your ears. Down dog when you're ready. Left leg to the sky. Let's bend the knee. We're going to stack and open through the hips. Staying here if you need to. Option to try out flip dog on the other side. Spinning on our feet. Knees are bent. We're going to have that left hand reaching up and overhead. And then really trying to lift the hips up. So this one can be a really nice back bend. Let's begin to reset. 3-limb dog. And then we'll take that nice big step forward and we'll rise in our crescent warrior, also called high lunge pose. Maybe seeing if you can relax your shoulders from your ears and create a little space here between the ears and the shoulders. Feel the shoulder blades moving down your back. Let's release the wrists, fingers interlock, palms will touch, and then circle. Reverse. Take it out if you need to. Hands up on the inhale. Warrior 2 on exhale. Let the arms be really active here. So we want to feel one hand reaching and stretching forward, one hand reaching and stretching back. Arms are active, hands are active. Coming out, we're going to try pyramid. Right foot takes that float forward. If it felt a little easy last time, maybe make the distance between the front foot and back foot a little bit wider. Really important though to have your back heel on the ground. You don't want that one lifted up for this one. Hands up on inhale. Let's take it down on exhale. And then as you're folding here, maybe bring your right hip crease forward, left draws back. Maybe more weight in that left foot. Maybe relax your head. We have so many muscles in the back of the neck. They work so hard to hold the head up all day long. And in a pose like this, we can just let them relax and let them release. Weight comes into that right hand, left hand up for our twist. And then as we're twisting here, breathe into your low back, mid back, and upper back. And then releasing from the upper, mid, and low back. Staying where you're at, option to build on this one if you wanted. Right leg can lift, and that takes us into our revolved balancing half moon pose. Trying to maintain that twist, we're going to breathe into our stomach, ribs, and chest. And then releasing from chest, ribs, and stomach. And if you wanted to build on it a little bit more, maybe take your left hand for your right foot, finding sugar cane with a twist. Create a little sensation of kicking the foot into the hands. We are going to find our way to standing split. So unwrap arms and legs, both of the hands down, and right leg to the sky. Let's take our right foot back, runner's lunge. Let's take our left foot to meet our right. Plank, high push-up. Lower down, chaturanga. We'll take an up dog here. And then float it back. Let's bring it to down dog. Grounding firmly into the hands. Draw the weight back into your heels. Knees, let's bring them down. Tabletop position. Sweep your feet to the right or to the left. We're going to bring it down into seated. And we're going to take a hip opener on our back. So let's come on down to the ground. I'm going to start by bringing our right leg up and over. And we'll create that number 4 with the leg. So if your left leg was straight, you'd see this upside down 4. And seated pigeon or reclining pigeon is really nice. So good for your body. So many benefits. Different variations. So option to stay right here with your left leg bent. You could flex your right foot just to help activate some muscles there in the legs. You could take your right hand into the leg and press it away. And option 2, reach for the back of your left leg. You could also reach for the front of your left leg. And if you're feeling extra flexible, you could take your arms out nice and wide, and you could sweep both of the arms around both of the legs and then pull in a bit. Now we're gonna hold this one for a little bit. You might feel that stillness feels really nice, and you may wanna rock from side to side. So you could do a little rock to one side or the other. Sometimes that just finds that softness and lets you ease yourself into the stretch. And then to deepen the stretch, you're going to flex that right foot and have that flexing. And your right knee, you could press your hand into the knee to press it away or just energetically sending it away. So have a couple of options there. The nice thing about doing that hip inspired practice today is that you can really spend the practice opening the hip so that when you come into a nice hip opener like this, the body's really ready and open for it. And your body can just really take in all of those benefits. Right leg, let's bring it down, foot plants, left leg up, over, find that figure 4 stretch. And then staying where you're at, reach for the back of your leg or the front, pulling the legs in, stillness, or a little bit of movement from side to side. Maybe close your eyes. And then just see if you can relax your body. We all tend to hold tension, even if we think the body is relaxed. Maybe there's a bit of tension that we're holding in our shoulders, or maybe clenching the jaw or the eyebrows. Glutes, we hold tension there as well. So just maybe become aware in your own body and just ask yourself if you can melt a little bit, find a little bit more softness there. Let's begin to release that pose. Happy baby stretch. Reach for your feet. So you can grab on the outsides of the feet. There's also a variation on the inside. So just check in, see what works for you. Flexing your feet and a little rock to the right and the left. Maybe imagining that you could stump your foot up on the ceiling, really trying to flex your foot. And as you're flexing your feet and really working trying to work towards a 90-degree angle in your legs, see if you can lengthen your low back. So this can be that nice opportunity to find a little space in between the vertebrae and the space between the vertebrae. Letting that go, we're gonna float those knees into the chest and gently rock to the right and to the left. Maybe floating yourself into circles on your low back. Maybe find large circles, maybe find smaller circles. And then circle in the other direction. And releasing. Let's take some time for Shavasana, which is our relaxation pose of practice. Legs can relax, arms can relax. Maybe if you're taking this pose, you could have your toes turning out, let your heels roll in. And that could just help to gently and passively open the hips. You can have your palms facing up, and that will be a gentle rotation in your shoulders. Maybe invite a gentle tuck of your chin just to help find a little bit of length in the back of your neck. You can also tuck the tailbone to find a little length in your low back. And then if your back is a little sensitive, knees can bend, feet can plant. It's more of an active rest and release for the low back. And just taking some time here for yourself to integrate the benefits of your yoga practice into your mind and body. Allowing for your breath to deepen, maybe wiggling the fingers and the toes. Finding your way onto your side. You can come onto your favorite side. So just roll to the right or the left. Maybe create a pillow with your lower arm. Gently support the head. Feel your body take the shape of the pose. Well, come on up. Let's find our way into seated. And then as you come to seated, sit in any way that feels comfortable for your body. Hands can come to the heart space in prayer, into Anjali Mudra, maybe closing the eyes. We all come to yoga for vastly different reasons, to connect to our body, our breath, each other, a greater purpose, our community. We come to connect. Yoga in Sanskrit translates to union, to join. It pieces together that which was never actually separate. The light within me honors the light within you. Namaste. Thank you for joining, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here with you all. I hope that you enjoyed this hip opening practice. Have a wonderful evening, and I look forward to seeing you next class. Take care.